just for context, I have never experienced life this sweet. I've got sunflowers behind me. I am flourishing. And it's not in spite of my cancer, it's because of my cancer. So you might have some curiosity. What's been unfolding? What's been unfolding in this awakening? And I hope this inspires the possibility of that for every one of you, because you each have access to this field of flourishing. And what I've discovered, let me back up. Let me back up and actually go back and describe my day of diagnosis. So to put this all in context, because I wanted to say there was initial fear that was associated with this. There was spikes of fear, you can imagine. So I am essentially a workshop trainer and an executive coach. And on November 12th, 2020, I was doing a coaching call with a client. And all of a sudden I became aware that I couldn't get my words out. And I was embarrassed. It was something because I make my living from my words and serve with my words. And now I had word block. And it was 10 minutes into the coaching call. And there was an awkward moment where my client said, "Do you think you need to go be seen?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And so I took myself into the emergency room. And long story short, I got an MRI. And the MRI revealed what looked like multifocal grade 4 glioblastoma brain cancer, which is so-called terminal. I intend not to be terminal. And but theoretically from here, I have 15 months to live. So you can imagine, you get the diagnosis, and the neuroscience actually helped me understand what was going on, because the brain essentially maps to Maslow's hierarchy of need at a simplified level of safety, love and belonging, and significance. So the base of the brain is survival focused. It's the strongest circuits in the brain. Your brain is not built for happiness or joy first. It's built for survival first. And then at that simplified level, lower level, once we actually check off the box of we're going to survive, then we go into the middle part of the brain. So there's a concept here, an evolutionary model of the brain called the triune brain, developed by Paul MacLean at the National Institute for Mental Health in the 1960s. And there are these 3 levels. Triune means 3. So the base of the brain is also known as the reptilian brain. It's safety and survival, fight and flight responses. Then you've got the middle part of the brain, which is the paleomammalian brain, which many functions, one of which is pair bonding, gives rise to love and belonging, which is more broadly distributed throughout the brain. And then the third part of the triune brain is the new brain, the neocortex, the seat of conscious awareness. And then there's a particular part of within the frontal lobe, the prefrontal cortex, which if you were to designate the CEO of your brain, this is what you would want to run the show, because it has a number of capacities that map into high performance conscious leadership, such as this gives us a capacity for emotional composure. So we can pause before we react, because the safety circuits are very impulsive. They're very impulsive. They put you into fight and flight responses, fight and flight reactivity. They're designed to save your life in physical danger. But when it comes to psychological danger, like the threat of stress or self-doubt, they put a tremendous strain on relationships because we fight for control and we take flight from things that leave us feeling out of control. We fight to prove self-worth and we take flight from things that leave us feeling out. So while it's very, very adaptive and very specific, safety is a sledgehammer and it can lead to low performance leadership states, as opposed to the slower, higher part of your brain, the more thoughtful part of your brain, which has a number of other capacities. So ultimately, we oscillate between a reactive mindset and a creative mindset at the higher level. And that creative mindset of high performance conscious leadership is represented by emotional composure. There's a highway of fibers from gut intelligence, heart intelligence that radiate forward into that part of the brain. It gives us the capacity to relate well to others with social awareness, empathy, compassion. It's also the seat of decision-making, strategic decision-making. So this is where we're able to achieve our results that we want to see in the world. It's also the seat of metacognition, where we can mindfully watch the mental stream of our mind and say, "Hoy, there goes a damn crazy thought. Perhaps I won't act on that one right now." So we can pause effectively before we respond. This provides us the capacity for a wise mind. So we oscillate between these states of reactivity and creativity. And actually, there's a formula that dictates which stream dominates. And when we're in the stream of demands, the formula is, what is the relationship of demands and resources in your life? And this is very, very dynamic. It can change throughout the day. So when demands exceed resources, even at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we tend to actually cave under threat and go into a state of reactivity. And we've been in the long haul of COVID now. We've been in the long haul of COVID, which has imposed a whole new layer of demands on us all and fragmented resources, which actually predisposes us to a stream of caving under threat. Now, here's the other thing. When we actually go through weeks or months, or hopefully not years of this, when we're in the stream of reactivity, when it comes to the safety frame, the consequence of ongoing struggle for safety is exhaustion. The consequence of, and Daniel Goleman calls this amygdala hijack. So when you actually go into the amygdala hijack of that reactive frame, you forego love and belonging, so you become disconnected. And then what happens is you forego what gives you a sense of significance, which is the function of our higher cortical circuits, giving us the capacity for creativity, meaning, joy, and significance. We have a reduced sense of accomplishment. Those three characteristics, exhaustion, disconnection, and a reduced sense of accomplishment, that is the gold standard definition of burnout. And I only mention that to say, with compassionate latitude, that if you're experiencing any exhaustion, disconnection, or reduced sense of accomplishment at this point in your life, please know you're not alone and that it's normal. This is your brain's normal response It's your brain's normal response to states of high demand with fragmented resources in its endeavor to protect itself. So wanting to offer you that compassionate latitude. Now, here's, I don't know how many of you know Peter Drucker. He's like one of the foremost management gurus. And Peter Drucker had a very funny quote that maps to this. He says, all organizations are a mix of friction, confusion, and low performance. And then he says, acknowledging that the gravitational pull towards the strongest circuits in the brain are in the safety circuits. That's the default pull. We gravitate towards that. And then he says, everything else requires leadership. Isn't that grand? Because now we understand the value that you have to bring. You're essentially cultivating leadership, conscious leadership in the hospitality industry. So what does that conscious leadership look like? We don't need any more training in reactivity. We've got that down. The brain's got that cold. But ultimately what we're looking to do is we're looking to cultivate the capacity for developing internal resources and marshaling external resources that can meet the demands so we can rise to the challenge. And so these are skills and practices of developing deeper psychological safety within ourselves and our teams. Cultivating greater connection within ourselves and within our communities. And then from that place of claiming the belonging, love and belonging frame, in the simplified version of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, from safety to love and belonging to significance, being able to then engage with creativity, innovation, to serve with greater value and purpose in the world at large. So that's the value of living well from of leading well from within, living well from within. It overlaps with with what it means to be a healer.